Hello everybody and welcome to Comically Incompetent. My name is Doug and we are still celebrating the 1 year anniversary of the podcast with returning guests who are picking the movie themselves. So my guest this week, as you can see, with a 1 episode break, Dad, how you doing?
Hello.
So with the 1 year, we're celebrating. You get to choose the movie. You also chose the beer.
Yes.
So why don't you tell us what you picked, and even though it's in the name of the episode, and the beer.
I chose the Birdcage.
Fantastic
1996, Robin Williams classic, Mike Nichols directed classic movie of La Cage aux Folles remake.
Yes. Based on a French play.
French play, correct.
Yes.
And absolutely hysterical movie.
Yeah.
4 Academy Award winners.
That's true. It was makeup and costume.
No. 4. There are 4 Academy Award winners that are on the cast of this movie. Robin Williams won an Academy Award. Gene Hackman won an Academy Award. Diane Wiest, how do you say her name? Wiest won an Academy Award. And last but not least, Grant Heslov. He played of the 2 guys that were the reporters from what's the name of that? What's the name of that bad?
Enquirer.
The National Enquirer reporters. The one guy with the curly hair. He was one of the producers and creators of the movie Argo, which won Best Picture.
Oh, okay.
So he won an Academy Award for Best
Weird
Picture.
tie-in there.
Yes. So 4 Academy Award winners associated with this fantastic movie. And the beer I chose, Surfbird.
Makes sense.
The bird taken, the surf taken, the
South
Beach,
Florida.
Miami background. Surfbird by Gunwhale, which, as we look out the window, we are looking straight at the Gunwhale Brewery, actually, which is across the street.
This is one of the breweries, yep.
So we could say for the first, I don't think you've ever had a Gunwhale beer on this
will be the first. Their names are always a little interesting, so it's hard to tie in with the movie that we're doing, but we finally got one.
But we finally found one, and as I look out the window, there it is right there. I could see it. Maybe if we don't, have enough, we can walk over and get
over.
More.
So with this movie, I just want to talk about, first of all, how I feel groundbreaking this movie was for the 90s to have a gay couple be the heroes of the movie with the ultra-conservative family as, not villains, but the antagonist against our characters.
It was just over the top, right?
It was fantastic, though. I mean, I was only 2 when this movie came out, so I can't speak to the time period, but, that had to be a relatively new...
Yeah, I'm trying to remember. But I'm sure this broke lots of boundaries as it came out in the LGBTQ community.
And Nathan Lane being an openly gay actor playing this character.
Actually, Nathan Lane was not the original choice, right?
Mm-hmm.
Robin Williams was the original choice for that character. And Steve Martin was going to play the character Robin Williams played, Armand. Steve Martin had too many movies going at once.
Yeah.
Robin Williams then asked, well, I'd like to play the other role because, the role of, what's Nathan Lane's character? Starina, but... Albert. The role of Albert was more sort of in line with sort of Robin's characters that he had played, but he went to that, and then they found Nathan Lane, which this is Nathan Lane sort of... I think Nathan Lane was a stage actor, and this was his cinematic debut.
He went on to do some, obviously, major roles. For my generation, Timon in Lion King, but then the producers with Matthew Broderick, and some fantastic roles. He's obviously super talented, and this was a better movie. I think Steve Martin would have done a good job with this. That combination of Nathan Lane and Robin Williams was absolute perfection.
And then let's not forget getting Gene Hackman to dress in drag.
Yeah.
Was who would have thought that would have ever happened, right?
And Diane Wiest was hilarious in it too.
Yes.
Gene Hackman is one of my favorite lines there at the end when he's like, I don't understand. He's just like, I don't understand.
But we'll get to all the fantastic lines.
Also, Hank Azaria as Agador Spartacus.
And Hank Azaria was...
fantastic.
Yes. I think when I was doing my research, that role was combined roles. There was supposed to be this butler, and then there was supposed to be sort of this, what they called a dresser.
Yeah.
And somehow, when Hank Azaria was cast... he did such a fantastic job that they just combined him all into one role to give him more screen time.
Yeah, he's amazing. This movie is just nonstop funny from beginning to end. It's uncomfortable in the best way possible. It's hysterical. The acting is amazing. Set design, the costumes, everything is perfect about this movie. Just down to, like, just the little, like, throwaway lines. Like, when Albert's like, because of you, I've become short, fat, hideous. And he's like, I made you short? Like, just, like, the amazing, like, little lines that
and this is one of those movies, you know how I'm not a watch a movie over and over again. This one I could watch start to finish over and over again, and every time I catch something different that just makes me crack up. I mean, it's just hysterical.
Yeah, it's funny every time. It's one that I've seen a million times, and I still, like, laugh out loud every single time. Not just little, like, chuckles here and there, but I'm crying laughing at this movie every time.
And the cast was incredible. In fact, we said there were 4 Academy Award winners. Mm-hmm. There were 5 Academy Award nominees because the guy that played the son,
Dan Futterman,
mm-hmm. he was actually nominated for an Academy Award. He was the producer of, I'm trying to remember the movie, but he was a producer of a writer of a movie that won Academy Awards as well, and he was up for an Academy Award as well. And then, of course, keeping in line with our Harrison Ford,
Callista Flockhart,
Mrs. Harrison Ford was in this movie as well, playing a 18-year-old daughter of a conservative senator.
But she was like
when
30.
She was 30.
Yeah, she was 30 in this role. I mean, same with Dan Futterman. He was supposed to be 20 years old, and he was like 35 playing the character.
Yeah, I think he was 27.
27? Yes. He was old. Like, they were all so much older than they were supposed to be.
Yes.
But, I mean, it just doesn't take away from how hysterical this movie is, because the whole premise, if you guys haven't seen the movie, this is one that I feel like a lot of our audience probably hasn't seen, because, I mean, Marvel's very mainstream.
And you need to see it.
Yeah, you need to watch this movie.
see this movie. It is just, if you're feeling sad, watch this movie. It is like, I've seen it 50 times, and I still laugh out loud at this movie.
Because if you guys haven't seen it, the basic premise is Robin Williams and Nathan Lane are a couple who run a drag club, and they live above the drag club.
In South Beach, Miami.
South Beach, Florida. And their son is going to marry a girl whose father is a right-wing conservative politician who is in the Senator, yes. Who is in the middle of a scandal because his co-counsel for the Council for Moral Order was found dead after sleeping with an underage prostitute. And so now they're trying to regain their image.
An underage black prostitute, yes.
So they're trying to regain their image by having a white wedding because they don't know that the family of her future husband is Robin Williams and Nathan Lane.
The daughter doesn't want to tell them the truth, so they try to pretend. The whole thing is the families are going to get together, and they try to pretend that it's this normal family, conservative family, that his dad is the
cultural attaché degrees.
That there's some stuffy Palm Beach politicians. And in fact, they're not.
Yeah.
Gene Hackman character who plays the senator has to leave, get out of town, try to let the heat come off, and they decide to drive down to Florida to meet the future in-laws.
And it's just one of those movies where you can just sum it up with hilarity ensues. And with Agador Spartacus, played by Hank Azaria, who is the houseboy butler of the house who wants to be in the drag show, but he doesn't have any talent, so they don't let him in the show.
But he plays this Guatemalan, one of the greatest lines in the movie, my Guatemalan-ness.
You're afraid of my Guatemalan, my natural heat.
Yes. So Hank Azaria is fantastic in this movie. I think if this movie would have come out in this day and age, Nathan Lane, Hank Azaria, all these characters would have been up for Academy Awards. I mean, they were fantastic.
I mean, everyone was funny. Everyone was just killing their role, and everyone fit. I mean, just down to like just how funny this movie is that you're laughing from the second you start the movie with Gene Hackman's character, and you're kind of learning about him and his whole thing, and how Nathan Lane's character is very dramatic. Yep. Everything is in the dramatic. She's an actor.
Oh, it's all about drama. Everything's over-dramatized for him.
Yeah, I love the scene where he thinks that Robin Williams' character is cheating. So then he like throws this big fit, and he's like, Agador, I need the Pirin tablets.
The Pirin tablets.
If it wasn't for the Pirin tablets, I could not go on. And Robin Williams is like, what are you giving him drugs for? He's like, it's aspirin with the A and the S scraped off.
That's right.
I love it.
Yes. So the whole premise is Robin Williams is the father, the genetic father of this character right, of the son, and Nathan Lane plays his sort of like the mother that raised him in effect.
He's the mother that raised, because that's the whole thing of the woman who actually gave birth to the son. She just didn't want anything to do with it. She started her own business. She left, and you find out later that Robin Williams bought her the business in exchange for having full custody of.
Yes. But son. She was a fantastic character and a great actress as well, Christine Baranski.
Everything.
And they bring her back in because the whole thing is they're trying to act like they're this conservative, couple, this conservative family, and so they ask his natural mother to come do this favor for him to act, but then they have to tell the Nathan Lane character he has to go away, and he's overly dramatic about everything, and tomfoolery ensues after that, right?
Yeah, but one of the things I love about this movie that is like the little lines that show the relationship, because like when you see Nathan Lane and Robin Williams together on screen, they're usually kind of like bickery, but it's kind of like this funny thing. But then you see how much they care through little lines, like when the son is like, "I'm the only guy in my fraternity that doesn't come from a broken home," because even though Nathan Lane's obviously not his biological father, he still considers them as his full parents. There's nothing broken about that relationship. I like those little lines that they put in there to make sure that you know that they are happy and like a happy family, that nothing is like amiss with them at all.
That's right. But everything's way over the top, right?
Everything is way over the top. They live in
this. Not only do they live above this drag club, everything about it is over the top. The decor, it's to the nth degree of South Beach. Homosexual, everything that you can imagine, and it just puts it over the edge, right?
Yeah. So I like the scene. So now that the parents are coming over, the in-laws are coming. They have to try and tone down the place,
the decor,
and so they have all the guys who are in the drag show downstairs. They're all helping out, and they all are trying their best to make it a heterosexual household. With stuff, he's like, "Who put Playboy in the bathroom?" And the guy's like, "That's what they read." He's like, "Don't add, just subtract." Yes. They try and put the moose head over the fireplace.
And basically they remove everything from the house. It's basically empty, except this enormous crucifix that they stick on the wall.
I love that shot when the family comes over and he's like, the son's like, he uses more of this house to reflect. It's more of and then Robin's like, a monastery. And you see him with the shot with a big crucifix behind him.
And I will tell you that I hesitated choosing this movie because however much we talk about it, there's no way we could do justice to the way the chemistry, the way they pulled this off. It was just fantastic.
And to Robin Williams as well. This is the first time we're doing a movie that had Robin Williams, and the impact that man had on the industry. I mean, you were trying to think of as well Good Will Hunting as an option.
That's right. One of my other favorite movies.
I mean, Robin Williams was amazing. There's nothing he put his name on that was subpar. And even if the movie itself around him wasn't great, he was always the shining part of anything that he was a part of.
Yep.
And I mean, this was the exception of everyone in this movie was fantastic.
Yeah. I mean, I watched it again last night with your mom and your sister and your grandpa, and we were all just hysterically laughing again after we've all seen it 50 times.
I think my favorite scene, just because this is not a movie you can take scene for scene. There's too much comedy that you can't pack into an episode of this show.
Yeah.
But one of my favorite scenes is, so now the family's there, and I love when they have Agador, and Robin Williams is like, you need to cook something for tonight. And he leaves, and the son's like, you can cook, right? It's like, your father seems to think so. And so he makes what does he call it? Sweet and sour peasant soup
Sweet and sour peasant soup he made up.
And I love the scene, because there's one thing that happened. If you watch the movie, guys, now they're freaking out because they don't have an entree. That was the entree. It was this horrible soup that he made.
That's right.
And so Robin Williams goes, and he's going to go try and put more in, because on the bowls are this is like Greek boys having sex with each other.
Yes.
So
the china is
that he put
a
out,
pattern of and they don't want anybody to see it. So they're trying to keep filling the bowls
with this nasty soup. And there's a scene where Robin Williams is screaming at Agador, and everyone's freaking out, and he slips and falls.
Yes.
And you can see Robin Williams starting to kind of laugh and break, because that was not supposed to happen. Agador's crying, the son's chugging alcohol from the bottle. It's just chaos the second the family gets there, and I love it. And Nathan, so The big part of this movie, though, is that the mother, the biological mother, she's supposed to be there to play the mother. She's late. So Nathan Lane decides he's going to go full drag.
He was supposed to be Uncle Bob or something.
He was supposed to be Uncle Albert.
Uncle Albert, and he dressed in a suit and tie, and one of the greatest scenes in the movie, right? Mm-hmm. He dresses in a complete suit and tie, and he walks in the room, and Robin Williams' character, Armand, and the son are there, and they're just staring at him. They don't say a word. Yeah. He walks in. There's no noise. It's just completely uncomfortable. You can tell he's just like, kind of in this suit, because normally he's very flamboyant in his dress. So he walks in the suit, and everything looks fine. And he sits down. He's completely uncomfortable.
He doesn't know how to put his legs.
And he crosses his legs, and he's wearing these hot pink socks. Yeah. Nobody says a word. And he kind of looks at them, and he's like, "What?" And they're like, "What about those?"
Yeah.
And he goes, "Well, there needs to be a splash of color."
Yeah, one does want a hint of color. And I love him. He's like, now you're looking at me thinking I'm even more obvious dressed like this. And they're just kind of like staring at him.
And you got to remember, both Albert and Armand and all the characters in this are completely the most lovable characters, right? I mean, there's a scene where Albert is sort of going around town, the South Beach.
Everybody loves him.
Everybody loves him. He's at the fish market. He's at the bakery.
They all know him. They all want to help him.
Yes, they're known in their community, and it was just fantastic to just everything that was portrayed in this movie was just so spot on to how life could really be, right?
Yeah. Well, I read up about this movie, and this was coming out about the same time in real life. Republicans are trying to push this the same thing, coalition of moral order against homosexuality. So then they made this movie and rebooted it from a play, making fun of that whole thing and having these gay characters be the talk of the town. Everybody loves them. They're the nicest people in the world, showing there's nothing wrong with this, but there is something wrong with these right-wing politicians who push for moral order but then have no moral order themselves.
That's right.
And I love that that's kind of the underlying premise of the movie. And like you said, Albert walking around town, everybody loves him, and he's hilarious. One quote that my girlfriend quotes a lot is when he goes in for the free sample, and he says lines like, "When the schnecken beckons."
Yes.
He's hysterical.
He's in the bakery, yes.
The line delivery from him is flawless.
Everything. The timing, the line delivery, and then, when you're dealing with Robin Williams and Nathan Lane, you're dealing with a lot of improvisation, right? So supposedly when Mike Nichols did this, the whole rule was you got to go through one time.
Yeah, one of the scripts.
The way the script's written, and then you guys can start going crazy.
Yeah.
I have no idea, and I've never seen or read about how much of it was improv versus how much of it was not.
I'm sure a lot of it.
But
yeah. One thing that it reminded me of a little bit was the kind of chemistry and the improvisational talent of Jeff Daniels and Jim Carrey on Dumb and Dumber. They did the same thing of you got to do one by the script.
Yes.
And then you can let loose. And when you have those comedic and improvisational talents of a Jim Carrey or Robin Williams, there's no chance they're going to use this in the script. They're going to think of something funnier than what's in the script. But
even in this movie, I mean, beyond the characters, beyond the storyline and the improvisation and the jokes and the quality acting, just the scenes.
Yeah.
I mean, there's one scene where the two characters, Armand and what's the name? Albert are sitting on a bench, and there's they're in South Beach, Florida, right? And there's a cargo ship going by, and just
the color, it's very pink and purple and orange.
The colors, like our background, the colors, but the scenery, the sounds, everything they did was just incredible. Incredible.
That's also a great scene, because that's the whole scene of them fully becoming partners. Half of what he has is they share everything together. There's no.
Although there's a great line when he gives Nathan Lane or Albert the papers to sign
the palimony
agreement, basically saying they own half of each other's lives, right? Yeah. He reads it, and the Albert character goes, "So basically, you're telling me I get to give you half of my life?"
Yeah. And he's like, "Well, you get half of mine too."
Yes.
But just everything about this movie is it's hard to. This was one that I think is so hard to talk about, because you want to cover everything. You want to cover every joke and every line and everything, but you can't do
thing to thing. Well, let's go back, because you were talking about so the mother was late.
Yes.
Getting there. So and Albert was supposed to be Uncle Albert, but that wasn't working.
Yeah.
So then all of a sudden Albert comes out dressed as a woman and pretends to be the mother.
Yeah.
And you're thinking, what a disaster. Everybody's shocked, except obviously the guests, the senator and his wife, don't understand. They think that's his mother.
Yeah.
and then the senator ends up loving her.
He has like a crush on her.
He thinks she's completely like the most conservative. Yeah. I think he says he grew up like in Grover's Corners.
Yeah, that's what Robin Williams said. He's like, she grew up in Grover's Corners, saying like she's naive and stuff, trying to because she's saying all these wrong things, trying to like blend in, and so he's panicking. So he's like, she doesn't know what she's talking about, and then they leave, and the senator's like, do you see the way he talks? Every time she opens her mouth, he looks terrified, and we know why he looks terrified, but then he thinks it's because he like doesn't love her, doesn't believe in her. Right. He thinks she's stupid. Like they fall in love with her, and then Diane Weist's character's. I love that line after. She's like, someone has to like me best. That was fantastic. Just everything about that scene, and so yeah, the whole hilarity ensues once Albert's dressed as the one playing the mother.
Yes,
everything starts going downhill. The food is horrible. The china has these scenes of homosexuality on it that the parent they can't look at. They're like, it looks like young men playing leapfrog.
Yes. And
they're like, let me get my glasses. And like, nope. And like starts dumping soup over it. It's just fantastic scenes of just hilarity.
So then the Albert's character, his wig starts to come off. Yeah. And they all catch it. The Armand, the son, the soon-to-be daughter-in-law, the daughter-in-law, they all take the Albert character inside to fix his wig.
Yeah.
And then the mom shows up and says she's the mom.
Yeah.
And now the jig's up, right?
And there's also the whole thing of Goldman and Coleman.
Oh, that's right, his last name.
Because they were trying to say
Goldman is a Jewish last name.
So they were trying to make them look like right-wing, like Christians. Then they said it's actually Coleman. There's a whole thing in this movie.
The D is silent.
Yeah. So then the biological mother comes in and she says Goldman, and now everyone's panicking.
That's right.
And finally the jig is up, but so then...
Wait, let's not go past that.
Yeah,
because the jig's up, right? So the son now starts explaining, no, these are my parents.
Yeah.
And they own the club downstairs, and, and this is my biological mom who I've never met before, right?
Yeah, but he talks to Albert, says, this is my mother.
This is my mother,
This is my real mother.
And he takes the wig off so you can see it's a man, right?
Yeah, and I love the scene where he goes, and it's Goldman, we're Jewish. And then the senator goes, you can't be Jewish. Like, that's the thing he locked in on. Right. Not that they were gay, but he's like,
but
you can't be Jewish.
But the best part is when Gene Hackman starts going, I don't understand. Yeah. And then he goes, I feel like I'm going insane.
Yeah. And his wife's trying to explain, she's like, they're gay. They're a couple. He's like, oh, I understand. I love that.
Yeah.
So then, now, the whole point is, like, we were talking about the scandal. So now they're trying to get away from the paparazzi. But because of these two jerks from the Inquirer, all of the paparazzi are now at the house.
Yes.
So the senator's like, we can't get out of here without being seen. Like, how are we going to do it? That's when Nathan Lane has the idea, I know how we could get you out of here.
That's right.
So now they're all go sneak down the club downstairs. Gene Hackman's in drag. Everyone's in drag. And they're going to sneak him out
through the club as the final number of the show for that evening.
Yeah, which is... I don't know how I'm blank. They sing it a million times. We Are Family.
Yes.
Yeah. Is that the name of the song?
We Are Family, yeah. Sister Sledge or something? No, Pointer Sister. I don't know. Sisters. One of those Sister Sledge, Pointer Sisters.
And then, so they have to sneak out, and Gene Hackman in drag. And I love the scene where you kind of start to see him come around when he's like, I told him not to put me in a white dress. I said white would make me look fat. And he's like starting to kind of come around to it. He's like... He wanted a different dress, and he wanted to look different.
There are so many little lines that you just, if you watch this, you just catch them, and then you got to watch again, and you catch a different line.
Yeah.
It's just unbelievable, incredible.
Yeah, I mean, everything about this movie is fantastic. I think what makes this movie, though, I think more than anything is obviously, like we've talked about a million times so far, the acting.
Yes.
And I think Nathan Lane's portrayal should have been nominated, maybe not an Oscar, but a Golden Globe and something it should have been nominated for. He was amazing as Albert in this movie.
They made this entire movie so believable, and the characters so lovable that you just couldn't. I mean, it's like a good book you can't put down, right?
Yeah, I think though my absolute favorite scene I want to talk about is so. Now everyone knows Albert's trying. He's like, oh, well, I want to stay. Like, well, how can I stay? And Robin Williams is like, well, you could pass as straight. He's like, yeah, you could pass.
Yeah, there's a whole segment on that.
Yeah, he's like, let me teach you. He's like, we'll teach you how to be straight. So he's like, try and walk. And so he walks like how he walks, very dainty, very delicate. Then he's like, Robin Williams is like, let me give you an image. John Wayne.
That's right.
So then Nathan Lane walks as John Wayne, and then he's like, was that not good? And Robin Williams is like, no. Just never realized John Wayne walked like that because he walks all like stupid. I love it.
He taught him how to shake hands.
Yeah.
Because he first started to shake hands like this, right, with his hand up. And then he shows him how to shake hands like John Wayne.
Tight wrist.
And then there's great lines around, they're sitting eating, right?
Yeah.
And he says you gotta spread the butter, you smear.
Men smear.
Yeah.
I love the line when he's trying to teach him how to shake hands, so he's like, Albert, you old son of a bitch. How about those dolphins? So he says the whole thing, and then Nathan Lane responds like, how do you think I feel about the play? Betrayed, bewildered? It's like, wrong response, and Robin is like, I have no idea. Like,
I have no idea.
They don't know football at all, but he's trying to teach him, but he also doesn't know what he's talking about.
That's right.
Because the son is like, tells Armand, he's like, you couldn't pass. And he's like, I could pass. And then he runs his finger down his cheek and then wipes on the wall, and he's like, yeah, so I wear foundation. He wears the makeup, and like, one thing I liked is Robin Williams' character was also, his mannerisms were, like, so, like, just like the way that he did was very subtle. He was a lot more of like, I mean, that was one thing that people, I think, the only thing people found relatively offensive was the stereotype of Albert played the woman, like the female, character, whereas Armand was more of like the masculine character.
Yes.
But his mannerisms are also very subtle too. That he has to try and, like, the way that he walks, he needs to, like, stand up straight. And you've seen that where Armand's in the suit and he's like, I look like my grandfather.
That's right.
Just like everything about this movie is fantastic. It's such a good job.
Just a line after line of hilarity, of just cleverness.
Yeah.
And like I said, I don't know how much this was improv and how much was written in the script, but it was incredible. I mean,
did you see this movie when it came out? Because I did. 96.
I did.
Yeah, I was only 2, maybe like 1.5.
I did. And this was, Robin Williams was at the height of.
Yeah.
I mean, he was.
This is the 90s. This is Good Will Hunting. This was.
This was 1996.
2 years after Good Will Hunting came out in 94.
Did it come out that early? No.
I think so.
Did it really? Huh.
Keep talking about his other roles. I'll look at
But yeah, Robin Williams was the peak of his career, and everybody was just, whatever Robin Williams did, people wanted to go see, right?
Yeah, I mean, the 90s was Robin Williams. I mean, he owned that time period, basically. I mean, in the 90s alone, you have Patch Adams, What Dreams May Come, Good Will Hunting, Flubber. He was in Hamlet? Aladdin, Jack, The Birdcage, Jumanji. Let's see, what else? Mrs. Doubtfire. I mean, just everything that he would... Hook, The Fisher King. Like, everything was coming out with Robin Williams, and everything was amazing. I mean, obviously everyone knows his career was outstanding. Yep. But when you look at the mid to late 90s, I mean, everything was coming out Robin Williams, and everything was good.
He was huge, and this movie was fantastic. I mean, it probably didn't get the credit it should, although...
I think that was more based on the time that it came out than anything else.
In typical, big movie fashion, right? They spent $13 million or so making the movie, and it made $184 million or something.
Yeah.
So...
Well, most of this movie took place relatively within their home.
Yep. Yeah.
Like 90. I mean, there's some odd sets here and there, but for the most part, the movie took place within their home above the drag club. But I also just, the little lines, like you said, something you noticed, the one thing I noticed this watch through is there's a scene where Armand's running the club, he's trying to be personable, and the waiter's like, the Kennedys are here again. He's like, which ones? Do we get Ted? And he's like, no, the younger ones. And they're like, should we pick up their tab? He's like, no, just give him a round of coffee. Then he goes, I didn't notice he goes by him and goes, save room for coffee.
Okay.
Like, and then walks away, like little like lines like that.
And this movie's almost 2 hours long. I watched it again.
Doesn't feel like it at all.
I watched it again last night. I swear you feel like it's 30 minutes and you just want more and more and more. You don't want it to end.
Like, I wish you could go back in time, have those actors be that age, and do like a TV series. And just have like episode by episode. I could watch them play those characters forever.
Well, you could have done something like, then after they get married and then you have like... they become grandparents or something, and
even the wedding scene at the end of the movie is hysterical because it shows the two sides, right? You have the conservative side, everyone's dressed in black, and then you have Robin Williams' family side, everyone's dressed. It's all like the drag and actors, and everyone a part of their family is dressed so colorfully.
That's right.
And then there's a scene where it's on the conservative side. She's like, which one's the mother? And the woman's like, I just don't know. And it's just hysterical, the two sides. And also, he's Jewish, and they have to do like the...
That's right.
They have the rabbi and the priest up there.
And the priest, yep. Yeah, the minister, the Christian minister and the rabbi. It's just, it's a testament to, in 96, to equality, to... to things that are so important in this day and age. Like I said, if this movie had come out today... it would probably be Best Picture of the Year.
Yeah, I looked it up, and I was just curious. I was like, is there anything going around now? Because with nowadays, people are going back and looking at things, saying not canceling. It's an intense word, but looking at things in a different light, seeing the problems with them, like Disney movies that are older that were like that was racist. Right. And I want to see if there's anything around that with this movie. And every article I could find that came out within the last 3 years was how amazing this movie was for its time. How showing equality, showing this family as a normal family. Yep. And that was one thing that this movie really pushed was there's nothing wrong with this family. This is a very normal, happy family. And that was not an agenda being pushed yet.
That's right.
And I like the contrast of the right-wing conservative family being like I said, I want to say they're not villain, but antagonist. They're pushing against what our protagonist wants.
That's right.
But one thing I did notice more this time around, too, was how I didn't like the son as much, because the whole point of the movie is that he doesn't want his dad to change, but he needs him to change for that moment. And Robin Williams has some great lines saying, like, I worked so hard to get to where I am, to be comfortable with myself. I'm not going to change for anyone. Like,
that's right.
He says, like, F the senator.
Right.
But then he does it because he loves his son, and he wants his son to be happy.
That's right.
But
there's a lot of emotion in this movie. There's a lot of emotion.
But everything ties you in. Everything about it makes you feel for the characters and love the characters for who they are.
Yep.
And one scene that I love I want to talk about is we have Robin Williams direct. He's the director of the club. He writes all the songs. He directs the show. And Nathan Lane is the head.
He's
actress.
the star.
He's the star. He's the star of the club. So they're going over this musical number, and I love the scene where they have the guy, and he's like, Albert's like, he's chewing gum.
He's chewing gum.
The guy's like, gum helps me think. And he's like, honey, you're wasting your gum. Like, I love all those little lines. And then
it's every little line.
Yeah, the guy's like, what should I be doing up here? And he's like, you do an eclectic dance. You do it. And he does Robin Williams improv, like, all these weird dances. Like,
so I read, when I was doing the research on this, right, when he did that scene, Martha Graham,
yeah.
right? And then he does the thing, Madonna.
Yeah.
That guy, that was the actor that played that guy, was actually a dancer in Madonna's stage show.
I didn't know that one.
So that was that was kind of thrown in at the end because of who he was.
Okay. It's such a smart movie, and that's one thing I want to say is if you haven't seen it, watch this movie. It is outstanding. Like, I don't know if it's streaming anywhere. I own it, because I watch it constantly. It cracks me up.
Yeah, I mean, you got to be able to get access to it. It should be on.
It's on
something.
Apple. If you guys have like an Apple TV, it's on iTunes. If you guys want to rent it for like $3 or something, it's completely worth it. I mean, absolutely outstanding, and just I can't stop laughing at this movie no matter how many times I watch it. But
that's right.
I highly, highly, highly recommend it. I mean, I don't know what's that director done besides this. Did you?
Mike Nichols? He's one of the famous.
I can't remember.
Heard of Mike Nichols?
I mean, I looked it up last night. I just don't remember off the top of my head now.
I
know he's done other things that I've seen.
It's huge movies. Big movies. The Graduate. One of the greatest movies of all time, right? Let's see. What else has he did?
He was big in just the big 90s.
A lot of Harrison Ford movies. He was big with Harrison Ford, so he did Working Girl and...
I've never seen Working Girl.
Regarding Henry, which is another fantastic movie. Let's see. All sorts of movies.
No, I've seen. The Closer.
Yep. I mean, The Graduate being the most famous one that he was...
Probably, yeah.
Associated with. But yeah, one of the great directors of all time. Now, I will tell you, I've never really seen the La Cage aux Folles that this was based on.
Yeah, I never have seen it.
And but I would love to see how that played into the whole thing. Yeah.
But I think a lot of it is the story is great, but the acting is too perfect.
Great music.
The music is you got
music. A lot of Miami Sound Machine, Gloria Estefan.
I mean, that was just... I like that they used, like, music from Miami. It was very... Right. It was for where they were. There wasn't anything extra outside of it. They played the music for where they were at the time, and I like that as well. It fit the timepiece. It fit where the location. I mean, this movie is so well...
Even the club itself, you're like, I want to go there. That looks like a lot of fun,
It looks so fun. I want to go... Like, it's one of those movies you look at the characters like, I wish I could know them. I wish they existed as people and I could, like, hang out with them and go visit the Birdcage.
They were the most lovable people that you want to be part of. And that was the whole gist of the movie, right? You had this, tight-ass senator. Unlikable guy, right? And then this likable family, this likable couple, and how do these come together? And then they don't even really tell you at the end. I mean, they do the whole thing where they dress and drag to get out of it so the press doesn't see them, but you don't know what happens from there. Do they ever get married? What happens, right?
I also like the I just totally lost my train of thought on what you were just saying. But I mean, it's a fantastic movie. I mean, everything about it is.
So you should see it if you haven't seen it, for sure.
Like, I wish I could go into every little scene. I wish I could go into every little line, but there's just no way you could cover this movie. It's hard because we jumped a little over the place, but you just have to see it for yourself. I mean, this is one that I don't think I could sum up properly.
Yeah, you could talk about each scene, and there's a whole world within each scene that you could just talk about forever, and the hysterical lines and the characters and what a fantastic shot. I mean, the Hank Azaria character, Agador Spartacus. I mean, just we could do a whole show on just Agador Spartacus and the fact that he couldn't wear shoes
because he falls when he wears shoes.
He falls when he wears shoes, and then the shoes he put on, he was falling over, and he wants to be in the show, but they won't let him be in the drag show, and he's the houseboy, and then he makes coffee, and it's
Peruvian
coffee or something like that. It's just everything's over the top, right?
I love his little sass lines of Robin Williams. He drinks the coffee. He's like, "What is this, sludge?" He's like, "Yes, I made sludge. I thought it'd be a nice change from coffee."
And then he changes his voice when he tries to when the senator comes over. He tries to not.
He deepens his voice.
I am Agador Spartacus.
I love
the fact that they call him Agador Spartacus.
Yeah. Well, his name is. That's his full name. They're going to call him one name, but then they
were going to call him Spartacus.
Yeah.
As the butler.
Yeah.
And then somebody yelled out Spartacus, and somebody yelled out his real name Agador, so they just called him Agador Spartacus the rest of the movie.
Also, one scene I like is when he walks in. They're like, Agador Spartacus, and he comes in the room, and instead of he just goes,
"Yeah,
what do you want?
What do you want?"
I like the scene.
For those not watching, Doug raised his hand.
Yeah.
Threw him up over.
It's kind of One scene I do like about this movie is when we talk about the contrast between the two families is the senator's telling a story about foliage, and they're all just dying because it's so boring, and you can see them all just kind of zoning out, and then they're like, "I'm sorry," something happens, and they're like, "I'm sorry, I was just so entranced by the senator's story." And he's just talking about the leaves changed.
Well, even the whole thing with the senator, where every time things got stressful, he wanted to eat candy. And at one point, they kept throwing his candy away because they didn't want him to eat it. And he would dig it out of the trash can and eat the candy.
He's eating the candy out of the trash. No, the characters were just all fantastic. I mean, everything worked so well. Every character was played perfectly. I mean, I don't think I'd seen much Diane Wiest before.
She's a very famous actress, right?
Was she she was hilarious, but I don't think she was known for comedy at the time.
No. She's a serious actress, right?
But she was hysterical.
Been in tremendous movies. Obviously, The Birdcage, Edward Scissorhands.
Who is she in Edward Scissorhands? I haven't seen that movie in probably a decade now.
I'm trying to remember. It's been a long time since I've seen it.
I haven't seen the movie in forever.
She was in a lot of the Woody Allen movies. Yeah, a lot of great movies that she's been in, and I think she won an Academy Award also, right? Didn't I say she was an Academy Award winner? She won 2 Oscars, actually. Best Actress in Bullets Over Broadway and Best Actress in Supporting Role in Parenthood. She was in Parenthood as well.
Oh, okay. So, she was hysterical.
She's won 2 Academy Awards, right? And then obviously Gene Hackman is not a comedy actor either, right?
No. He's hysterical in this movie as well. I know Gene Hackman from things. He actually worked on one of the movies that the company I work for put out.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, he was a Marine, and he narrated the movie We the Marines.
Okay.
But yeah, he's hysterical. But I love Diane Wiest line when she's like, "Somebody has to like me best."
Somebody has to like me best. Is Gene Hackman still with us, I think?
Yeah.
Is he?
He's just old.
Well, he was born in 1930, so, yeah.
And he's still alive, yeah.
Great.
He's still plugging along.
So he's over 90 years old.
Good for him, man.
Well, fantastic movie. I highly suggest it. Let me, shall I tell you a little bit about the beer now?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay.
Go ahead. So
Gunwhale Brewery is where we got this. The Surfbird, which is right here, is one of their sort of what's the term they use? Flagship beers. that they brew. It is. I'm stumbling here because I'm trying to open the information about it.
It is a California Golden Ale.
Yeah, pale gold and clear beer. California Golden Ale, brewed to be an easy drinker, which it is. It has an aroma of honey and malt and citrus. Light body, so very drinkable.
Yeah.
Very light, which is nice. And named after the migratory bird found along the California coast, but we chose it because it had the bird logo to it. So
Birdcage and the surf of like surf in
Birdcage
Florida.
and surf in Florida. Gunwhale, another great brewery, right? Which is here in local to Southern California. They're in Costa Mesa and Orange, California as well.
Yeah.
Up by Chapman University. They brew everything in those two locations only. And they have a great selection of beers. Which is just a fantastic choice. They do a lot of different things with their beers, as far as different styles of beers.
Their sours are really good.
Good sours.
Really good sours.
I'm not much of a sour guy, but good sours and very interesting locations as well. If you visit one of their tap rooms. Very interesting locations.
I've gone to one. It is very interesting the way that they've laid that out, but very, very good beer.
I'd like to try their Orangewood, which is a tangerine, papaya, and vanilla. Is it good?
It's probably the best thing I've had from them. Well, actually, I don't know anymore. The Surfbird's actually really good.
The Surfbird's good. It's 4.8% alcohol by volume, so it's light.
It's a good one to have, like, if you're going to a brewery and you're going to sit outside on, like, a hot summer day. It's a good, refreshing beer to have on, like, a day like that.
And as I look over there, maybe we should go sit outside over there.
Enjoy a beer, yeah.
And enjoy a beer. But, so Gunwhale, highly recommend it. Great logo with Gunwhale. And I've seen both locations. They're both very interesting to go to. So I highly suggest Surfbird by Gunwhale.
Definitely. Yeah, I mean, you got this from...
Obviously I could have went across the street and got it, but I actually picked this up at Bevmo, of all places, because I had a coupon.
There you go.
So
yeah, I mean, you don't just need to go to the brewery if you live in Southern California.
And they did have a couple of different Gunwhale options at Bevmo as well.
I've seen one they have when I go to... I mentioned on the show before I go to High Times to get some of the beer. They have one called Bait Ball pretty commonly, which must be pretty good if they make it that consistently. Usually breweries will make... If it's really good that sells well, they make it again. But, yeah, I mean, fantastic beer. Really good. Worked really well at the show. Yeah, I mean, I just wish I could talk more about this movie. I want to go downstairs and watch it again.
Well, we've probably confused people because we didn't really talk about the movie. We just went all over the place. But this movie is kind of like that, too. I mean, it's like, this movie is like everywhere. It's like coming at you, and it's, you can't, it's not the kind of movie where you could sit there and go through a storyline.
Yeah.
There's this storyline, but it's just non-stop, constant fun.
It never slows down. I mean, it's one of those, like you said, it only feels like a half an hour because it's just going. You're you're constantly in it. And I think that's one of the things of, like, when you go through, like, an Avengers movie, it's very A, B, the heroes fight, the heroes win. This is so scattered in the best way possible.
Yes.
That it works so, like, it doesn't work with a type of show like we go point A and point B. It's just it's a very conversational, very fantastic movie that... Again, I can't recommend it enough.
Well, if you look at the 5 points of what makes a great movie, right?
Yeah.
Great acting.
Nails it.
Great story.
Amazing.
Okay. Great scenery.
Yeah.
Great writing. And a great soundtrack. It's got all of them.
It's got all of them. And like we talked about, just for the time, as well as just showing inclusivity and showing LGBTQ plus rights and everything about that, showing just how great that family is. I think it's just such a great message, especially to spread right now. So... Thank you for picking it. I mean, thanks for being on for the 1 year.
I wasn't sure. I thought with this being a show that is really focused a lot on the Marvel movies and the superheroes and all that kind of stuff, and I know we've been branching out. We did the 50th show.
Yes.
We did together, which was Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade.
Yes.
And I just thought this would just be a fun change, and whatever I could do to get people to go see this movie, I want to help that.
Definitely. I mean, that's one thing with this. I mentioned on the show last week that I'm going to be starting to cut down, and that's one thing I want to start doing is maybe less about the movies that are comic books that I don't care about as much, but more movies that I really enjoy. And this was one that I really enjoy. So I've been happy with you guys picking these movies. I'm excited to keep going with this 1-year celebration of having all the guests back on. I know Dominic is going to be on doing Godzilla with me, so that's going to be interesting for sure.
I know it's not SpongeBob.
It's not SpongeBob. That was a good episode, but it's not SpongeBob.
Okay.
So, yeah, thank you again for being here, for celebrating the 1 year of the podcast. You've been a full-time listener and a guest for a long time.
I've listened to all of them so far.
Well, thank you so much. And then last order of business, thank you guys so much for listening. Don't forget, we're on Twitter, Instagram, YouTube, all that stuff. Go check it out if you want. New episodes every Monday morning at 7 a.m. for this month, but starting in April, April. We're going to be doing the first and third Monday of every month. So only 2 episodes per month, cutting back a little bit. So don't forget that. I'll mention that the next 3 episodes after this one as well for the rest of March. But thank you guys so much for listening, and I hope you guys enjoyed the Birdcage. Go check it out. Please watch it if you have not seen it. Seriously, it's completely worth the time and money.
Yep.
So thank you guys so much for listening, and we'll see you guys next week. Bye.